Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you Part 1, yes, a brand new series. What if Naruto was a prodigy who awakened his true potential? Part 1 guys. If you enjoy see 1 see Part 2, go ahead and comment down below and tell me 1 see Part 2, and I'll be posting as soon as possible for you guys to enjoy. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode over in Anime King 2 of What If Naruto Got a Tail Beast from the Shinigami, and enjoy that guys. And if you're new, yes, I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Making 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. And yeah, remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, so I can talk to you myself personally guys. And don't forget to turn on that bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado, what do you say we just jump directly into this new episode guys? Begin the intro. Naruto Uzumaki was a smart child. It was a fact that he acknowledged and understand because people always told him that. So it must be true. Tsukime, the orphan matron, she was the one that told him this the most. She was different from other people because she had deep lines on her face and gray hair. When he asked her why that is, she told him because when people start to get old, they show signs of aging. The old woman is nice. She gives him and the other kids sweet when she could. But she had trouble getting all of them to bed at time. But not all adults are like her. Sometimes there was an old man that people call Hokage-sama even though he isn't Hokage anymore, that stopped by to see how they were doing. He seems nice. He looked at him strangely though, as he told him once that he was a friend of his parents, but he wouldn't tell him their names. However, Naruto simply ignored it. If the old fart didn't have anything to tell him, he simply ignored him. So because they were tired, a word that he learned from Tsukibachin, Hokage would not teach him anything, and the genuine kids ignored him. He tried to rummage through the old books that the orphanage had to find anything that could help him, as he found one of the books that were thrown away by one of the academy students. After going through it, he found something that can help him, the leaf sticking exercise. Apparently, chakra control was something needed to be a shinobi, and Naruto desperately wanted to become one. His drive was quite simple. One day when Tsukibachin back was turned, an older boy snatched a locket from a girl. The girl cried and begged him to give it back, saying that it was the only thing that she owned, with her parents' face in it. Naruto did not know that he could get so angry, but he did, and he punched the older boy right in the face, just like the Genins did to the dummies outside. The boy had proceeded to drop to the ground and started crying on top of his lungs, dropping the locket in the process. The girl had hugged him in thanks, as Naruto was satisfied with that, so much so that he did not really care about the scolding that he got afterwards. It was so thrilling. It was then that he decided that he would be a shinobi no matter what, even if he did not understand which he liked more, between fighting and the girl's hug. The older boy hasn't picked on anyone since Naruto punched him. Disregarding his motives for a moment, he still needs permission to go out. Tsukime-bachin, he said, as she seemed to be in a good mood today. Yes, Naruto-kun, she said, in her usual soft tone. Can I go outside to the trees, he asked. It was one of his favorite things to do, as he always saw the kids outside jumping from tree to tree. The ninja children, even though that is not what he was going outside for this time. You can, she said, but you have to promise me something. Promise what, said Naruto. Be back before the sun is down, or I will have to call the shinobi to come and get you. I promise, said Naruto. Tsukime ruffled his hair as he ran off. He finally gets a train. Time skip. Kakashi Hatsuki is a weary shinobi, young but weary. It is a fact that he acknowledged and understands because the people around him won't be quiet about him needing some time off. During and after the Third Shinobi War, Kakashi had a swim of bad luck, or perhaps the gods decide let's just screw with someone, and they picked Kakashi. His first friend had died, saving their teammate, giving him a gift that no amount of money or gold could equal to. And then he was forced to kill that very teammate for the sake of saving Konoha. The death of his sensei followed, along with his wife. Things was not looking up for him at that moment. But despite that, he endured all and kept on moving. After the Kyuubi attacked the third delegate to the next Hokage, to be Tsunade, Kakashi remembered the shouting match that followed this decision. But Tsunade eventually conceded and became the 5th Hokage. She's a good Hokage but a bit temperamental. Her action regarding the kidnapping of the highway heiress was something that cemented his faith in her as a good leader. She had been utterly ruthless with them. They had used Konoha goodwill and tested the water too deep. They threatened war against Konoha for killing their ambassador / kidnapper. Tsunade told him that they already taken on the world 3 times before, and if Kumo wanted to fight, they wouldn't have a village to fight for afterwards. She could not be cowered down by threats, and she would not be. Kumo was sent home with their tails between their legs, and their reputation in tatters. Kakashi was very pleased by that. Not only does it improve Konoha in the eyes of their enemies, but also that small child that was almost kidnapped gets to keep her family. And she's home safe as well. Family is something that he really appreciates. Family should not be broken. The Sand seemed to be very impressed with Tsunade's attitude as well, regarding the latest development. Judging by the large jug of sake that was sent from the Kazekage as a goodwill. It's been 5 long years since the Kyuubi appeared. Things aren't getting worse for him, but at the same time they aren't really getting better. He's an Anvu still, rising to captain since being placed here by his sensei before his passing. Everything these days is just a blur. Wake up, eat, mission, come home, eat, shower, sleep. The routine was over and over and over again. It was quite boring. But what else can he do? He doesn't have that much experience with friendship or even love. Yes, he had people that he knew, but at the thought of taking a wife on, something like that, something always held him back. Lost in his own thoughts, he entered through the Riverside Park. As he saw there was a child there. He was carrying a tattered book under one arm and a water bottle in the other. He tried to catch his scent to see if the boy was related to anyone that he knew. As Kakashi paused, his looks are familiar, but his scent was more so. As he looked toward the child, a look of guilt and shame rushed over his face. This boy did not look like the 2 who sired him, but there is no question that he's theirs. Genes were really funny sometimes, but this boy was meant to be his family. Kakashi often wondered what it would be like, him being the older brother, Sensei being the long-suffering but sturdy father, and Kushina, the fiery and embarrassing but loving, affectionate mother. As Kakashi watched the child, Sarutobi told him that Naruto was dead, and he wanted to know just what in the hell was going on. Time skip. Uchiha Madara was older than dirt. It was a fact that he understood and acknowledged because his time was coming to an end. He had lived far longer than any normal human being, even surpassing the likes of the Uzumakis. After his battle with Hoshirama at the Valley of the End, and faking his death, he had spent decades cultivating the DNA that he had taken in, and also trying to prolong his life. But he was not idle. He was also out in the world trying to figure out why. He wanted to bring peace to the war-torn world of the Elemental Nation. And after many years, the answer came to him in the form of a crimson, fiery-haired woman, and the equally stubborn child that she bore him. His natural, protective instincts brought themselves to his mind with a vengeance. After all, any daughter of Madara Uchiha would be hunted to her very last days. With some advice from his new wife, he developed a special technique to be placed on Kushina's heart to seal away her Uchiha powers before they could surface. And thus her dark hair became red. Her eyes became blue like her mother's as well. And thus, Uchiha Kushina became Uzumaki Kushina, as she had a strong potent chakra. Despite that, her chakra was vast and also soothing for something, the job that was to take on as the next Jinchuriki for the 90th Fox. As the previous host has gotten old, and that was Mito, With her being the Jinjulki, he knew that she would be kept safe. By the time she was born, he was already old. And his wife, her health was already failing. And by that he could still watch Kushina from the shadows. His plan went back into motion. But he always kept eye on Konoha. Kushina always knew him as father. So she was ignorant on who he really was. Her mother, Haruta, told Kushina that Madara had passed away peacefully in his sleep years after his departure, but she left out his actual name. On the gravestone it read, Uzumaki Aizuna. He hoped his brother wouldn't have mind, but he knew he would have liked Haruta, even if he didn't like the rest of the other Uzumakis. Over time, his bitterness for the world started to come back full force. Everywhere he looked, there was some form of misery to be found. His wife was falling incurably ill, the side effect of a bit of skirmish between some stone ninja at Osa borders, an infected tool that they use. People leaving the world, leaving their children behind, as everything was just becoming so painful to the world. And then she died. When Haruta died, he only accelerated his plans. By then, he had awakened the Rinnegan, as he brought the Gedo statue back to this plane of existence. He implanted his eyes into a young Uzumaki, who had the chakra to sustain the eyes. As time passed, and with Obito in his clutches, he entrusted Kuro Zetsu and Obito to enact the plan. And once again he faked his death by using the Izanagi, as he programmed it to bring him back after 5 years. After transplanting the eyes into himself, once he wake up, placed him back in his original eyes. When he found what happened once he woke up, his blood boiled. Kushina was dead. She and her husband died after Obito ripped the Kyuubi out of her, which told Madara something, that Kushina had also been pregnant. But it seems that Kushina was capable of something that Madara didn't even know. And before the fort could seal away the Kyuubi into his newborn son, she teleported away using an advanced space and time technique. It took the full remainder of her life force to do that, which ended her life. But also, it left the child without any Kyuubi seal inside of him. Kushina knew how it felt to grow up, especially like a Jinjulki, without having parents there for you. And she wouldn't wish that on her son. She wouldn't let that happen. As much as he hated the fact that Kushina was dead, it may have been the best decision. If she had sealed a Kyuubi back in herself, she wouldn't be able to avoid attention from the village officials that may try to weaponize her. It would have painted a huge target on her back. Minato has also died due to a giant claw through his stomach as well. But Madara did not mourn the man. Such loyalty to a place like Konoha was enough for Madara to dislike him. With his grandson now free of Minato influence, the boy could be taught like a real Uchiha should. Madara had no doubt that Minato would try to fill his head with the village above all crap. Madara knew that he didn't have much time left as he got to his feet, his bones cracking as he did so. He was really old. Before he was gonna fall though, he was gonna turn his grandson into the legend that he was. He's gonna make sure of that. Time skip. Spiky black hair with a slight blue tint. Check. Charcoal black eyes but a pair of healthy skin tone. Check. Unnaturally powerful chakra and abnormal large reserves. Check. This was definitely his grandson. If it wasn't for a DNA test or being able to sense the chakra similarities, no one would ever guess that he was Kushina and Minato's son either, because he looked nothing like them. But the resemblance between Naruto and young Madara was shocking to say at least. As he could hazard a guess, the boy had enough chakra at his 5-year-old self now that Madara had when he was around 8 or 9 years old. His Uzumaki genes combined with the Uchiha genes. Yes, the child was indeed special. The child sat at a tree, as there was an artificial river that ran from the Naka River through Konoha. This area was intensely quiet. There wasn't much foot traffic here, as Naruto seemed to like that for his practice that he was doing at the moment. It didn't surprise me that such a serene place could be found within Konoha. It was a very large village. After all, there were some parks that could be mistaken as a forest. That is how big the parks were. A leaf was stuck to his forehead. The child seemed to have mastered the exercise a long time ago, because he looked bored. But that was good, that control would remain with him for the rest of his life. With the amount of chakra he already had, Once he grew that chakra will quadruple. Madara decided that this was a perfect opportunity to make his move. As he stepped out of the bushes, he stepped on a twig on purpose to get the boy to turn his way. As Naruto looked towards him, "Hello, child," said Madara. "Hello," said Naruto, as he looked at him with a suspicious gaze. "I noticed that you were practicing chakra control while out on my walk. Are you perhaps trained to become a shinobi?" Madara asked. "Yeah," said Naruto as he seemed to relax. A bit of excitement entered his face. "I can stick the leaf to my forehead now." "Very impressive for someone your age. How long did it take you?" "I don't know," said Naruto, "but it was ages. I came out when I woke up." "How did you learn that exercise?" "You have to be much older to join the academy," Madara asked. "Oh, I read it in an old book that was left in the orphanage. The rest of the book was all wrecked up though. I don't know what to do after that." As Madara understood why he was so bored earlier. "You must be good at reading then," he said. As Naruto nodded, looking quite proud of himself. "Yeah, Tsukimi-bachan let me go early because the other kids can't read so well yet." Madara knew that all too well. The feeling of advancing far beyond your peers. The sign of a true prodigy. Yes, they knew it all too well. "You know, I could teach you something too." "Like what?" said Naruto. As he walked up to him, Madara smiled to himself as he wondered if he had been this trusting as a child. "Well, I could teach you some more chakra control. I was a shinobi once too, you know." "A strong one," said Madara. "Really?" said Naruto. Didn't really believe that the old man could be strong. "That strong. How about we make a deal? If you can master this new exercise before day's up, I'll come back and teach you ninjutsu tomorrow." Naruto's eyes widened at that as Madara went into an explanation about what the tree climbing exercise was. He then proceeded to climb the tree. As Naruto soaked it all up before he paused. "Hey, what's your name?" he asked. "You know it's polite to give yours first." As Naruto looked a bit embarrassed. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki," he said. "Well, Naruto, you can call me Madara." Now get to it, the day won't last forever. Naruto ran up the 3 before he fell off after the 5th step as he landed on his back. As Madara merely smirked to himself in time, he will reveal the truth to the child, but for now, he wouldn't mind a few more days like this as he watched the child fall. But the determination in his eyes, as he simply watched him. Time skip. Naruto wasn't a full Uchiha. He was a Uzumaki, a Senju by principle, and he took traits from both, yet at the same time he was different. Madara watched as Naruto flipped off the tree and landed on the dirt road, a feat that would have probably fractured the legs of most of the kids his age. But Naruto's body was already powerful without training, especially when you compare him to a Senju and Uchiha child. However, when it came to looks and personality, he was definitely Madara's grandson, especially when you regard their looks and their minds. He snapped back at Madara when he teased him, and he made more progress and progress up the tree with each failure. The determination to not fall, the determination to never give up. Madara did not let these thoughts distract him from raising Naruto. If anything, the presence of a Uzumaki body would, mainly, enhance the boy's natural talent, such as his chakra and his Sharingan strength, to greater level of potential. To what level was anyone guess, seeing that the natural birth of a Uzumaki and an Uchiha has never been seen before? Kushina was a modified exception, seeing that her Uchiha trait was sealed off. On top of that, Madara was different to every Uchiha who had ever awakened the monkey to Sharingan. He managed to reproduce before dying. Even he couldn't even produce. A thought of what kind of repercussion that will have on Naruto, being a descendant to him. Worst case, it meant nothing. The best case, it will be freedom from a curse. "I did it," said Naruto. "I got to the top. You said you would teach me ninjutsu. I said I would teach you one, and tomorrow." "It's getting late, Naruto." The sun was going down already. It would be suspicious if the boy did not go back to the academy. "I should go, Ji-san," said Naruto. "Good night, Naruto. Come back early tomorrow morning for that jutsu." Naruto smiled a bit tiredly as he picked up his book and water bottle. "Naruto," he paused. "Don't tell anyone about me, okay? Not even the person that you trust the most." Naruto heard the seriousness in his tone as he gave him a nod. As Naruto waved and rushed off. "That brat," Madara said as he chuckled to himself. "Only 5 years old and mastering genuine level chakra control exercises. 2 in one day. That kind of determination was scary in the ninja world, especially with lineage that belonged to his. The child didn't ask for help, he simply studied and go on trial and error before meeting anyone, and he still managed to complete the leaf exercise. As Madara got to his feet, his bones creaking once again as he thought how to get his grandson to his full potential. He is not a good man, but he would do whatever it takes for his loved ones. As Madara reached the village walls, glancing up towards the stars, as he pushed a panel in, a wooden hatch opened up as he ducked under. He built his entrance for a personal underground hideout until he left the village. Judging by how much dust had gathered, no one has come down here. Well, the dust did not matter, this was just a place to hide between the gaps that he get to see Naruto. As he sat on the wooden throne, dust kicking up, as he fell asleep. Time skip. As Tsukimi tucked Naruto in, as he fell asleep almost instantly, he seemed to be really tired, as she smiled at the child. Meanwhile with Hiruzen, he was barely given a chance before he was grabbed by the throat and slammed in the wall, rather viciously. As he saw the one normal eye, and the other red, glowing eye. Kakashi, he said. You lied to me, said Kakashi. His voice was calm compared to his eyes. Someone stepped in the room. Kakashi, what are you doing? The newcomer shrieked. It was Shizune, Tsunade apprentice. You told me he was dead. So why? Kakashi gripped tighten. Why did I find a child with sensei and Kushina's scent? The copper ninja voice rose with every word, angrier and angrier. As he was dropped to the ground, Sarutobi gasped for breath. Kakashi! The voice of Tsunade barked. What was that about? Answer me, she said. He told me Naruto was dead. The frustration was clear in Kakashi's tone. I found him playing near to the river. Why wasn't I told? Naruto? Said Tsunade. What do you mean you thought he was dead? Sarutobi realized that things would not go well for him once she found out what he has done. After Sensei and Kushina died, Sarutobi told me that their son had died. But I found him. He was meant to be my responsibility. Kakashi, you need to calm down. Kakashi heeded her words, but he does not stop his hateful glare. What is your excuse? Lying to one of my shinobis like this? The village, he said. Gripping his throat, the village was weak. Kakashi-kun was needed. Tsunade cut him off. Kakashi would be of greater use with possible mental health. You're gonna need to come up with something better than this, she said. She turned. Shizune, take Kakashi towards the waiting room. I need to have a word with my former advisor, she said. Yes, Ned-sama. As Shizune looped her arm around him and started to drag him out, but his Sharingan was menacing, as the man was pissed off. There was a moment of silence as Hiruzen pulled himself back, as he sat in his chair. I don't think I need to tell you that you're being asked to leave. This manipulative behavior has a time and place when it serves to protect Konoha and its subjects. Hiding this from Kakashi was a bad idea, but what I'm confused about is that you thought that this would actually work, and even been the right thing to do. I can't trust your input any longer. The hardness in her tone was there, but it was the truth that hurt him the most. As he nodded silently. Good, she said. Tsunade stepped out to assess Kakashi's state at the moment. Deep down, Hiruzen realized he maybe put the village above their subjects too often. He thought he was doing what was best to keep Kakashi on the duty. He had to lie. And not to mention the stress that came with Hiruzen sighed to himself. He was just making excuses right now. Orochimaru had been lost to him a long time ago, and Tsunade was now seeing him from what he truly was. He only hoped that his last student would see him as he always had. With that he left, packing up his things. Tsunade stepped into the hall. It was just one thing after another today. But to be fair, she hadn't expected Kakashi to assault the former Hokage. Seeing Naruto must have riled him up beyond his normal sense of calm. He's been going through a rough loop lately. Constantly. Just moving in that same, slow steady line. Naruto. She heard whispers of another Prodigy from teams that babysat at the orphanage. They would complain about one boy who was a handful even for the Jonins. He showed a remarkable ability to pick up what you watch, and the words about him knocking down a bully twice his size who took away a girl pendant made Tsunade smile as she thought back to his parents. Despite the relation, she wasn't that acquainted to Kushina, but she knew Minato, mostly because Jiraiya just wouldn't shut up about him, and he always brought him along as well to show off his student. He was flinky and annoying, but both of them, him and Kushina, had been taken before their time. They deserved the right to raise their child, but they did not get that right. And with Kakashi being so close to them, no wonder he wanted to be there as an older brother for Naruto. Kakashi's life hadn't been easy at all. His father had killed himself, and Kakashi had found the body. That had had some psychological effect on him. He then had to kill one of his own teammates in the sake of protecting Konoha. And the other one died. And then he lost the two people that were like a mother and father to him, that being Kushina and Minato. It put him through a sense of despair that he never overcame. And with the way things were going, she didn't want Kakashi to go down the same route as Sakamoto. As she saw Shizune comfort Kakashi, she might have a plan. "Alright kid," she said, walking over towards him. "This is how it's gonna be. I'm giving you another 5 years in Envo at max. And then after that you're gonna become a Jonin sensei." Kakashi was about to protest, but she settled him down. "You can, of course, send your new subordinates back to the academy if they fail their tests. But at the end of the 5 year, you will not be returning back to Envo. For all intents and purposes, you will be another public Jonin." Maybe he wasn't quite fit to take care of a child in a capacity of a family member, but to be a sensei, yes, he would be fitting for that quite well. After a few silent minutes, he simply nodded, a sneery smile. "We can talk about your assaultment of a Konoha citizen another time, and your enrollment in the instructor course to see if you're fit to teach Genins. Not to mention you overreacted badly. You're going to be punished regardless of your station," she said. As Kakashi had simply dropped. Time skip. "Do you even know how to use hand signs?" Naruto paused and realized that he did not. "No," he said as he looked up. "Come here," said Madara. As Naruto walked over. "Watch, this is Ram Seal. It's the most common used seal. All it does is speed up your chakra so that you can use it to break genjutsu or activate an ninjutsu that you are already skilled in." As Madara went on to show him all 12 basic signs and make him repeat it back to him. Correction here and there, and Naruto could perform all of them. Now the seals that you need for his jutsu are Tiger, Ram, Monkey, Bear, Horse, Tiger again. Madara turned towards River as he breathed out the jutsu. Fire style, for about jutsu. Naruto was shocked as the old man here blew behind him, as the massive house-sized fireball raged over the river, as the water started to boil beneath. Madara stopped the jutsu as he ran out of breath, as Naruto was still in complete awe. "I'm gonna learn that," said Naruto. Madara sat down at the bench and told him to practice, as Naruto's first try was a flame that was big as a house cat, as Madara laughed at his expense. His eye twitched. He then proceeded to get determined as he locked in place. He stood there for the entire day until he could weave a fireball that was big and tall as Madara. Madara was impressed, but it wasn't the jutsu that was impressing him. It was the boy's chakra. The little amount that he used to do things. The small amount of chakra that he used in all situations. It kind of made no sense. Naruto has been doing this for most of the day, and yet his reserves were barely tampered with, and he was still not at his full potential because his body has not yet expressed the full capability of what it takes to bring out his chakra. If he were to receive a naive teacher, his full potential will be locked away. As the time passed, Madara believed that Naruto had mastered the jutsu. All that was left was for him to become older and become more capable with it. "Naruto." As Naruto rushed over, "I can make the fireball now." "Yes, you can," said Madara. "But ninjutsu also comes with great responsibilities. If you show off your jutsu without thinking about the consequences, you might get in trouble. Or worse, the enemies that you grow up and meet will have the upper hand." As Naruto didn't seem to really understand, so Madara had to listen to the kid saying why about 20 times. Why, he kept on asking, until he finally got it. "So the bad guys won't know how to beat me if I keep it a secret." That's right. The first of many lessons that were taught. Over the next 3 years, Madara realized there were certain things that he could not help Naruto with. But the time was finally ready. It has been 3 years, and Naruto was 8, as he was ready to join the academy. Tsukimi Bachan had equipped him with some kimono shirts. new pencils, book, and equipment that you will need. There were a lot of kids around. He guessed that they were going to be his classmates. As Naruto looked towards the people behind him, they all looked like baby versions of the people behind him. It was quite funny. Uzumaki Naruto. Here, said Naruto, as he saw the man with the scar on his face. Several adults looked towards him, as he felt a bit shy, as they started to spoke amongst themselves. Time skip. Who can tell me the founding clans? The two founding clans of Konoha. A pink haired girl raised her hand. Your name again, please, Aruka said kindly. Sakura Haruna, she said. She got to her feet. The Senju and the Uchiha clan. Very good, Sakura. Take a seat. Now can someone else tell me who the leader of those clans were? Senju Hoshirama. A voice said from the back row. It was one of the clan kids. Raise your hand if you'd like to answer, said Aruka as Naruto raised his hand. Name? Naruto Uzumaki. Senju Hoshirama of the Senju clan, said Naruto. That's right. Take a seat. The boy behind him squawked as Naruto almost smiled. Does anyone else know the other name of the clan leader of the Uchiha clan? A boy raised his hand with dark hair. Yes, name. Sasuke Uchiha. The leader of the other clan was Madara Uchiha. Wait, what? Naruto thought to himself. For nearly a week he did not stop thinking about the name Madara Uchiha, but he did not see Madara for the week. And the time finally came when he came back. I waited for you but you didn't show up. Don't be quick to be so jumpy to conclusions. You failed to notice that you were being watched last week. I was being watched, said Naruto. Yes, I did not reveal myself because it seems your fellow orphans decided to follow you here. You need to practice taijutsu anyway. An old man like me can't do anything but tell you what to do. That might work for jutsu but not things that might hit you back. Naruto looked more guilty but he didn't want to completely concede fault. But why does that matter, said Naruto. You could have just teach them as well. I don't want to train them, Naruto. I chose to train you for a reason. But why, said Naruto. All I will say is we have a connection. And you have vast potential. You can find out yourself why I'm interested in your growth in particular. Konoha has a wealth of information and the history since the village was founded. Figure out our connection and then you will understand. You have my name already and you have yours. Start there. This link is a reason why I must remain a secret to those around you. It is a reason why your life is at risk. As long as you remain weak, I have a great deal of knowledge myself, and that knowledge might harm you if you give it away to just everyone. Orphans, or otherwise. So go. I will be here every week. And when you have gained the knowledge, come and ask me why. And I shall answer your question. When you're ready, anyway. Konoha was built for the children to enjoy their life. Until then though, when you finally seek out the answers, you just have to put up with the way I train you alone. As Naruto seemed to be in deep thought, Madara decided to give him a hint. I'll give you a hint. What? Said Naruto. I'm training you and teaching you for the same reason the other kids in the classroom. Get taught early. That's it, said Naruto. That's all you're getting from me, brat. As Naruto noticed the raspy breathing, and the coughing as well. Tell me what you learned today, Madara asked. As Naruto told him that Aruka and Mizuki told him, and showed them how to throw kunais. They can't have their own yet, but they showed them how to do it. Time skip. Are you gonna die? Naruto asked. Tsukimi was not surprised by Naruto's question. He was always much quicker than the fellow orphans. As she couldn't lie to him. Yes, it was inevitable, she was old. And there was no medicine for being old. Not that she would bite. Every bit of money that she had would go to the children if they were not going to be provided for by Konoha Council. And if they did, she wanted the rest to go to her granddaughter, who couldn't get to see her because she was working in her bakery, that she wanted to get up and running. Do you have any family? Naruto asked. Yes, they are my family. It's very beautiful. I miss them when you're not here. As Naruto fidgeted with his pants. What's family like? A smile came on her face. Family is wonderful, Naruto-kun. Words can't describe to you the happiness and love that family brings to you. One day you're gonna have a family of your own and you're gonna realize there is nothing that you wouldn't do to protect that family. As Naruto thought over her words, family is wonderful. Naruto and another kids were not waking up by Tsukibachin. The next morning, as Naruto felt like it was his responsibility to find someone, so his first stop was Hokage's office. He didn't bother to go to the academy for the rest of the week when he found out. Sukime Bachan died. I don't know what to do now. Shizune kneeled in front of the crying boy. As she hugged him, "Don't worry, sweetie," she said. "Everything's gonna be fine." Naruto was one of the few that was given his own apartment, with a caretaker that stopped by once a week to teach him how to cook and clean. As some of the others were placed back into different foster homes, he also discovered something else. "Gigi, are you my grandfather?" Madara looked down towards the child. "Yes, I am." Naruto glanced up, his eyes turning red. A single Tomo looked up into 3 Tomos. After awakening, his eyes, training didn't change that much, but Madara was going into full force. It is true that small chakra reserves are easier to control at first. That is what the instructors told Naruto at the academy. However, ease doesn't always mean best. Some chakra control exercises cannot be learned, unless you have a certain amount of chakra people not born with. Potential as large as us could never hope to achieve the utter perfection of chakra control. Why can we learn and other people can't, said Naruto. Listen to me. I will only explain this to you once. You must never tell anyone what I'm about to tell you until you are powerful enough so that it does not matter. Do you understand me? As Naruto nodded, as Naruto's Sharingan sprang to life and read his lips, so that he'd remember forever. Good, said Madara, as he leaned back in his wooden throne. First, I need to tell you about the history of the Senju and Uchiha. As Naruto sat down there for 2 hours, listening to his tale, hearing about the Senju Uchiha, and the Uzumaki branching off from the Senju. Your mother, while not showing it in any way, possessed my genes that were passed on directly to you. That is why you look so different from your parents, because you look like me instead. But why aren't they here, said Naruto. Why did they die if they were so strong? Madara looked at his hands on top of his cane. It's because of me, he said. My dream to bring world peace drive another like-minded man like me to take up my goal. Tsukinome. What? Said Naruto. Tsukinome was my plan to force the world into an inescapable, perfect genjutsu. One that will control all beings and force them to submit. And they will have their utopia forever. The problem was I needed a Rinnegan, the combined DNA of the Senju and Uchiha, along with the 9 Biju, and a lifespan that would allow me to fulfill the plan at the correct time. I did not have that time, so I made an apprentice out of Uchiha to fulfill that plan for me. What's that got to do with mom and dad being dead, said Naruto. Naruto, no matter what I've done, and no matter how evil I appear to you now, you can always trust that I would do everything in my power for you. How am I supposed to believe you, said Naruto as he jumped to his feet. You still haven't told me why they're dead, and it sounds like you might have killed them. I haven't done anything since meeting you to make you believe that I'm your enemy. Before you try and kill me, at least listen to my words. Naruto looked at him. I wasn't... As he was unsure what to say to something that didn't even cross his mind. As Madara misjudged the situation by the way he looked at himself. My apprentice, he said. He killed her in a sense. Extracting a Biju from a person eventually kills them. They may manage to last a short while after, but there's no record that they live eventually. They all die. It's only because of how powerful your mother chakra is that she was able to survive after the extraction. If she was perhaps given medical attention, then she might have been able to raise you. The problem is, a female Jinchuriki seal is at its worst when they're given birth. My apprentice took advantage of that to obtain the Kyuubi that was sealed inside of her. I don't know how he knew where she would have been. That information should have been kept secret. Giving birth to you, having the strongest Biju taken out of her, and not receiving medical help, it was too much for her to live. If she had the choice, she would have stayed with you, as all parents wanted. Your father saw no hope of your mother surviving, so he sought to make a new Jinchuriki. You. I'm a Jinchuriki? No. Kushina took over the sealing ritual. She used the power that your father was in use to send the Kyuubi away. She couldn't bear the thought of you suffering, regardless what Konoha needed. On the brink of death, she made a decision that would leave her despised by village officials, but to give you a better chance of living happy and also healthy. Both of your parents suffered terrible wounds to save you from the Kyuubi. Given that your father lived long enough to try to turn you into a Jinchuriki, I figured that he was strong enough to kill my apprentice or leaving him to lick his wounds. It didn't even matter anyway, Zetsu was still at large, probably plotting. Being a tool created in his darkest moments, it would not stop until It fulfilled its purpose. If you had the chance, would you change anything, Naruto asks. There's no point in dwelling on what I would change. Even if the things I did remain a secret, and not a single person knows, it will still be the truthful past that will be our past. Naruto was quiet. As he went quiet for a few minutes until he spoke. Old man. He looked up, his Sharingan activated. Train me. Train me to be the strongest. As Naruto thought, I'm gonna have a family one day too. And I'm never gonna let them down, he thought to himself. Several weeks passed. As Madara was no longer withholding information, seeing that he knew that Naruto could keep secrets now, teaching him secret jutsus techniques about the Sharingan as well. He could not help in taijutsu, but he could use a genjutsu to help guide Naruto movements every now and then. He taught him many things, even going way back as the time of the Stage of Six Path, as he taught Naruto everything that he knew, knowing that Naruto would keep this all to himself. Madara wanted Naruto to know that the world was not just a fun place where they will be saving people, and he has to do the right thing always, as he wanted Naruto to understand the truth of this world. That is why he gave him a bingo book. Pick your mission well, and do not leave until you're certain that you're ready. Getting blood on your hands for the first time is no simple matter. A terrible incident that involved their distant relatives occurred. Madara did not care about them one bit. They got what they deserve. How cruel, grandfather. Do you not love your family as you love me, said Naruto. As Madara gave him an eye roll at Naruto's sarcastic remark, Naruto was well aware of what Madara thought of those who betrayed him. There's only one survivor. Sasuke is in my class. It was his big brother that did it. Weak, said Madara. He didn't finish the job. That's mean, said Naruto. Madara go off on another lecture. The fact that one survived, meaning that there's some foul play, and I doubt that he was the only one that killed off the clan. There may be more to this tale that meet the eye. Perhaps my apprentice lived after all. As Naruto gazed narrowed at that, it was easy to see the flames of determination in a hot-blooded boy like his grandson. What would you do if I were to die tomorrow? Madara asked. Before or after I stop laughing, said Naruto. As Madara's eyebrow twitched. Suddenly, it wasn't so funny when it was turned back towards him, but he whacked Naruto over the head with a cane. Ow, said Naruto. You're a wily little fox. What happened to the rugrat that used to beg me for jutsus? He realized he was getting the jutsus either way, said Naruto. Too bad you're a brat that can't use all of them yet. You would keel over at your age if you try one of them, old man, said Naruto. Children these days. No respect, no skill. Old people these days. Mush for brains and smell no matter how much they shower. Madara struck him over the head once again. Alright, said Naruto. Time skip. Under the cover of night, 9-year-old Naruto moved through the tall trees and windy weather. His grandfather told him that this would be his final test. If a shinobi was gonna thrive in this world, then they will have to learn to kill. As Naruto had spent the past week tracking a group of missing ends that had terrified the neighboring town of Naminakuni, he had a sword strapped to his waist. It was to compensate for the lack of reach that he had when fighting an adult. After all, his arms were not that tall. He spread his century belt and find his praise. 13 signatures. They were only a few hundred meters away. His Sharingan swirled to life. There were 3 Tomo in each eye already. As they peered ominously in the dark, he reached the camp and see what his sensory power could not. 4 women and a child locked up in a cage. Unharmed for the most part, but they were terrified. Their chakra was showing distress. Don't worry now, sweethearts. A man looked at them. We're going to take good care of you. Ain't that right, boss? The man didn't get a reply as he looked around. Boss? Are you? He dropped to the ground, drawing the attention first of the camp as a kunai buried right between his eyes. As Naruto appeared behind another bandit before alarm could spread, and placed his sword through the man's chest. There he is, another one said as the last 5 turned towards him. He's just a kid. That brat still killed the boss. Get him, the other one said. One of them struck, aiming to slash Naruto across the face. As Naruto ducked under the blade and flicked a kunai into the man's chin, as it burst right through. The remaining 4 are more cautious in approaching him, but it doesn't matter. They will all die tonight. The one that was holding his blade loosely, Naruto rushed towards him and knocked the blade to the side. As he made a chopping motion towards the bandit's hand, he removed several fingers in the process. Before he could finish the man off though, a kick came towards his head as he ducked. He then rolled away. His attacker though, another one that was ahead of him, brought his blade down to end Naruto's life. As Naruto rolled as the blade stabbed in the ground, he gripped the man's hand and used as leverage as he pulled himself up. He then proceeded to bury his blade clean in the man's face. He pulled it out as the body dropped. The last two dropped to the ground. As the man behind him with the missing armor screaming the last unconscious one, Naruto flashed through hand sign. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. The scream intensified for only a moment, before it died down as their bodies were turned to dust. Naruto escorted the terrified little girl and woman to the nearest village. The head of the bandit leader he returned to get a nice reward. They were bad people. He was under no illusions what they would have done to the woman if he hadn't get there in time. As a token of gratitude, they swore not to speak a word of what he looked like to the authorities. For the mere fact that he had a Sharingan, he knew that he wasn't strong enough. Despite having these eyes, Madara taught him that he wasn't strong enough to defend himself yet against everyone that might come after him. Did you run into any problems? Madara asked as he got back. Not a problem, said Naruto as he stuffed some food in his mouth that Madara prepared for them. I expected to be more trouble than it was worth. And the fight itself, Madara asked. It was fun, said Naruto. I could feel my heart pumping and Madara stopped him by placing hand on his head and ruffling his hair. Now you have tasted true combat, but there will be many more foes in your future, stronger and faster than the ones that you fought. Do you understand what it means to be strong now? Naruto swallowed and nodded. Madara told him that experience was the only true way to measure one's strength. If the enemy was smarter and more aware of their surroundings, the fight could have gone a different way entirely. He understood. Time skip. An 11-year-old Naruto made his way to the hideout. His shoulder-length, black, spiky hair was whipping behind him. He decided he wanted his hairstyle to be like his grandfather's, and he was growing it out. He was so absorbed in his training that he didn't bother go to the academy most times, as he didn't think that listening to the same old thing over and over and repeat for the next 2 years would benefit him. He absorbed everything that Madara said though, mastered all the jutsu that he taught him, as he was destined to make himself the strongest. Madara also lessoned him in history, strategy, taijutsu training, swordsman play, genjutsu, shuriken training, medical ninjutsu, everything that he would need. Up in the days where his grandfather was too sickly and unable to help, he would train by himself or either he would go to the academy if he wanted a day to relax. He was also developing an interest in Fuinjutsu. Not that it was because of his heritage that wanted him to be involved in it, but he didn't want to be caught by any seal. He didn't want to be unprepared for nothing. He wanted to make sure that he knew all. At the moment, Naruto didn't have to go to the academy at all times, as he had spoken to Tsunade about that. The Hokage realized that Naruto's skills were far above the normal aptitude for the academy, but since the Uchiha incident, children were not allowed to pass the academy at an early age. They were required to go through the full years, but Naruto was a special case. He only had to show up for 6 months throughout the year to show that his literary skill was still on terms to what they were, and to show that they were not falling behind. So before being tossed into genuine life, he had 2 years to push himself to his absolute limit and become what he was meant to become. As he made his way through the base, something was off. He couldn't feel his grandfather's chakra. Gigi, he called out. Gigi, he said, as he found him sitting in his usual chair. But something was wrong. He couldn't sense his chakra. Gigi, as he walked over, no response. Gigi, wake up, he said. As Naruto started to panic a bit, his mind registered the ugly truth, but he still wanted to wake up. As he collapsed to his knees after realizing, and for the second time he could remember, he cried. As he sat there in the dirty cave floor, remembering the last time he shared with the last of his family. Time skip. 6 months later, Tsunade smiled as Naruto entered her office. Happy 12th birthday, Naruto. He was more stern and serious than she remembered. Thank you, Hokage-sama. So, what's up, she asked. I want to take the graduation exam. You have good time in your age group is about to go through their own exam. If you can wait 2 weeks, you can take the test with them. I can't, said Naruto. Good. You will need to wait while my apprentice gets the paperwork ready. You'll have to take the last week though. As Naruto nodded. About 10 minutes later, Naruto was Uzumaki She's only call. Sorry to keep you waiting. It's a bit hectic with this year. With all of the Clan Ear students. Just put your information here. You don't need to do anything besides take your photo to graduate. And it stays that way until you are chosen for promotion. Naruto signed all that he needed to do. I'll make you proud, old man, he thought to himself. But guys, be subscribed right here. If you want next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to be posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also stay tuned for the rest of what you've said here. New guys, yes, I indeed have 3 channels: Anime King 2, and Making 3, which I post for every single day. But for now, yeah, I'm out guys, see you guys soon, peace.